You marry because your father owns 6 goats and your future in-laws own 5. And if everything goes well, together they'll produce a small army of bleating, milk-leaking dowry machines. Welcome to Romance Dark Age style. Your courtship lasts roughly as long as it takes to finish a bowl of porridge. You meet your spouse on the same day you exchange vows which are less till death do us part. And more please, don't die of dysentery before we've had at least 1 child. Love, that's something poets whisper about, probably in Latin. You meanwhile are busy learning to tolerate someone who chews loudly and forgets to wash their feet daily. The ceremony itself is modest. Just you, your betrothed, a nervous priest, and an enthusiastic crowd of family members pretending this union isn't mostly about land rights. You exchange oaths, possibly rings, and definitely livestock. Then you're off to the marital hut, which is just like your old hut, except now it contains even more emotional complexity and 1 fewer exit route. The wedding night is awkward, brief, and closely monitored by relatives who nod approvingly when the deed is confirmed with a stained bedsheet. Privacy is a luxury reserved for nobles and hermits. From there, the relationship blossoms into logistics. Together, you raise pigs, patch roofs, and argue about who left the firewood out in the rain. You have children partly out of joy, mostly because your village's mortality rate makes it statistically necessary to have at least 8 to end up with 3. If your partner dies, and they probably will from anything ranging from plague to tripping over a chicken and falling into a well, you remarry with all the emotional ceremony of trading boots. Mourn briefly, then move on. There's barley to harvest. Still, in the quiet moments, there might be affection, a shared laugh, a look across the hearth, a warm bowl of stew offered without being asked. These small mercies, like everything else in Dark Age Britain, are rare, fleeting, and treasured. Because while marriage may be practical, survival is romantic enough on its own. Your ideal death scenario, falling asleep beside a warm fire, belly full of stew, perhaps surrounded by children who look vaguely like you. Maybe one even becomes a monk and scribbles your name in a dusty manuscript. Edrich, who lived, farmed, and passed peacefully. Winter at 841. What? You'll probably get trampled by a runaway ox. Or stabbed during a Viking raid while still half asleep and wearing 1 shoe. In Dark Age Britain, dying quietly in bed is the lottery win of fates. Most people go out like a dropped sack of oats. Suddenly, inconveniently, and with minimal dignity, there's plague, famine, axe wounds, infected splinters, childbirth, and the ever-popular mysterious fever that shows up, boils you alive from the inside, and then politely disappears into the fog. War. That's for nobles mostly. You, being a professional goat-counting peasant, try to avoid anything involving swords unless it's to chase off a wolf. But war doesn't care if you're a soldier. It marches into your village, burns your thatch, and helps itself to your stew. The warriors, when they do die, rarely go quietly. It's all screaming, bleeding, and dramatically dropping a sword while monologuing about vengeance. Even the kings don't fare much better. Most of them die mid-uprising, poisoned by an ambitious nephew or by accidentally falling off something high after dinner. And yet, there's a strange romance in it all. The bards love a good death, especially if it's confusing. He died bravely, choking on a fishbone while singing of glory, they'll say. Your actual death probably involves mud, poor lighting, and someone yelling, "Fetch the leeches." The monks claim you should die with a clean soul. You're not entirely sure what that means. But just to be safe, you've confessed to things you didn't even do. Like stealing Brother Cathbot's apples. You did. They were sour. Anyway, in the end, all you want is for someone to remember your name. Maybe carve it into a stone or mumble it at a feast. You've survived frost, famine, and the neighbor who coughs blood in your direction every spring. So yes, you'd like to die peacefully, preferably in your sleep, and not while screaming in a burning granary during a misunderstanding with the Danes. Night falls in Dark Age, Britain like a damp wool blanket, itchy, heavy, and slightly suspicious smelling. You bank the hearthfire carefully, knowing full well that if the last ember dies before dawn, you'll wake up with frost in your eyebrows and the joyful realization that your nose has frozen shut again. You tuck yourself under a rough wool blanket beside someone snoring like a wounded boar and try to ignore the constant scratching sound coming from the thatch above. Mice, spirits, probably both. The floor is packed with dirt. The roof leaks on Tuesdays. The wind whistles through every crack with the enthusiasm of a bard 3 balls deep. You try to sleep curled like a salted fish, wondering if tomorrow might be marginally less awful. Maybe the pig won't escape.